Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I hope everyone is doing okay. I have stopped counting, so I'm not really sure what week of lockdown we're in now. I have planned a lesson for today. It's going to be divided onto two different videos, but it's going to be the same lesson, and the lesson is going to be still life. You can use any material you've got at home. I'm going to be using oil pastels, but you can use pencil, you can use charcoal, you can use anything you've got at home, so it doesn't really matter. What I'm going to be using for measuring, which is the most important part of this lesson, is I got two spaghetti strands, but you can grab anything that is kind of long enough that will allow you to measure, okay? So the aim of this lesson is going to be to do an observational drawing, and observational drawing is really important for what we do. And the important thing about it is that you're looking at something that is three-dimensional and you are converting it into a two-dimensional drawing, because your paper is two-dimensional, and we're trying to give the illusion that what we're drawing is three-dimensional, if that makes any sense at all. So I've put together a very simple still life. You can use anything you want that you've got at home. You can start with one apple if that's easier for you. I'm going to make a composition of a bottle that I have picked up a couple of things that I found from my house, and an apple. It's better usually if you haven't got a lot of experience, if you got something white at the bottom, okay? Just so that you can observe the shadows a little bit more easier than having something with a pattern. But yeah, you can use an apple, you can use a fork, you can use a glass with water. You can make the composition as simple or as complicated as you want. I would advise, if you're an absolute beginner, do something very simple, and if you're a little bit more advanced, then put more things into your composition. Okay? So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to ask the camera to come around behind me so that you can see. The first thing that I need to do is position the water bottle in my composition. And what I want to show you, I'm going to move the apple for a minute, is that if I put this spaghetti here, and I'm going to be looking at what we call the negative space, which means the space surrounding an object, I can observe that on the sides here, I've got two small triangles. Can you see that? So just by putting a spaghetti here, I can start drawing, yeah? And the other thing that I'm going to have to do, before I do that actually, is measure the bottle, yeah, in relation to how much higher that is, okay? So my bottle is that measurement, and that little bit of stick goes all the way to the top of my spaghetti. So I'm actually going to move this, and I'm going to do it in portrait mode. So the next thing that I need to do is that I need to make a decision on how I'm going to fit my composition in my piece of paper. So don't be tempted to make the bottle too big, because remember that after fitting that in, you're going to have to fit that in that is taller, yeah? In my case. In your case, you'll have a different composition. So I'm just going to start by making a mark of where I'm going to position the bottle, and I'm going to make a mark of what I want my bottle height to be. So I'm going to make my bottle that tall, and I know that this one equals that one plus another bit. So up here it's going to be my stick, yeah? So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to observe the curve at the bottom of the bottle. And I'm showing you this in particular because I've seen a lot of people drawing bottles and they tend to draw them straight and they forget to do that little curve, yeah? The next thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to grab this and use the straightness of the material to just make And then like that, yeah? And I think I made it a bit too fat. Narrow it down a wee bit. I have to make it a little bit taller just to keep the proportion. And same at the top of the bottle. I'm also doing it quite round, yeah? And after I have a rough line, I'm going to commit to a better, more definite line. Okay, so I more or less got the bottle. I'm going to bring my apple closer because I think that's a better composition, yeah? And using as well grey, I just want to have a look at the distance between the apple, the size of the apple, the width of it. I'm going to measure it with my finger and compare it to the bottle and see that it's almost the same, but it's got that little bit in between of difference, yeah? So I'm gonna do that, almost the same. Go back to my bottle, that is my reference. And I'm gonna make a mark that my apple is gonna stop here and it's gonna start there. And then I'm gonna get the height of the apple by putting this here, measuring it with my stick, and I'm gonna compare it again to the width of the bottle. And actually I'm gonna do something quickly. I'm just gonna assess the width to the height, and it's more or less the same. So width to height, more or less the same, but it's starting from a little bit lower down. I'm gonna make a mark and a mark. Once I've got the proportion of what it is, I'm just going to observe the shape of the apple as best as I can. Trying to look quite hard because it's not round. And then I'm gonna look for that little hole here. And I'm just gonna leave it as that. Very, very simple, yeah? Once I do that, I'm going to make the bottom of the bottle. There's a round shape at the bottom, kind of like oval. It's got a little center. And I'm also going to assess where the watermark is. And again, I'm going to make a round mark, like a smile, and then another one, a bit like a frown, the other direction. And that's my water, yeah? After that, I'm going to get the stick for the one that has the flower, and I'm just going to observe what that's doing and the distortion that occurs when it goes through the water. Yeah. And again, I'm going to do the same with the other one. I'm going to make it a little bit higher because I made the bottle a bit higher than what I had to. Doesn't have to be absolutely precise. It depends. If you've got experience in drawing before, you will want to take quite a lot of measurements and make this very, very precise. And if you're an absolute beginner, if you just take those measurements and then the stick, just to make sure that it's in proportion. So more or less I've got my drawing, and I'm also going to be including, once I've got my objects, I'm going to be including this little table that I've set up, yeah, because that's going to be my background. And I'm just going to look at the water level. If you close one eye, you can see quite a lot better. So, and I'm going to put my material to, or you can use it, where is my stick? If I put my spaghetti on top of that line here, I can transfer that angle simply by doing this. Yeah, do you see how I done that? And then I'm gonna put my material here and get that. And then I'm gonna do the same over with the other outer edge. And then I don't have to guess the angles, I just got them. And then this one here. And I'm just gonna leave it there because I can't see because of the paper, which is a bit naughty. Okay, I've got it done, more or less. So the next thing that I'm going to do, because I'm working with all pastels, is that I'm gonna start working on my highlights. Now, a lot of people ask me, how do you know with what material do you go from light to dark or from dark to light? And I have a very simple way of saying it, and that's if you can cover up a light color with a dark easily, yeah, so let's say I do something white, if I can make it black really easily afterwards, that means that that material is going to work from dark to light. And if you can't cover it easily, or you can't cover it at all, then that means that it's going to work from light to dark. Okay, so I'm starting with those little highlights, and I'm starting to look at any marks of light that I have got from the lightest. And if it's not as light as a highlight, I can just simply apply less pressure. With water bottles and glasses, they're really wonderful to draw because you've got so many reflections. And reflections can make things look quite realistic, and they're very, very interesting to observe. So they're a really good thing to practice observational drawing. As well, if you've got a still life setup, the wonderful thing is that they don't move like people or animals, so you can actually be drawing for quite a long time. Yeah, so they're really, really good ways to practice observational drawing from the comfort of your own home. And the only interruptions that you're going to have, oh, I just realized I forgot the flower, that nothing can interrupt your drawing. Okay, so this one is a little bit hard, so I'm gonna measure about where does this thing end in relation to the bottle. Okay, I've got it about there, and the angle of the flower is about this. And that stick corresponds to that one, so it's the same thing. Oh. And then it does something like that, and then like that. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it. Oops. Alright, so more or less got that. So I'm going to continue with my highlights in the bottle. Yeah. And I'm also going to do other lights that are not highlights. Okay, and I'm also going to come up here. Even if it's not the right color, it's okay. I can map it up with white, what my lights are, and then go with the right color. Yeah, but I just want to treat all the lights all over my drawing rather than just in one area. Which, okay, and then I'm gonna go to my apple, And I'm going to be doing directional mark making. That's going to give me the shape of the apple by making the marks following the form and shape of the apple. Yeah, more or less like that. So I'm going to leave this here for now, and I'm going to now come to colors that are a little bit more like my apple. Just cover up some of those whites. Apples are really fun to draw as well because you've got quite a lot of pattern and a lot of different colors. So they're really nice to draw. I really like drawing apples. And again, they won't move. And I'm going to stick a little bit of green because I see a little bit of green in there as well. And those greens are going to contrast nicely once I stick on my reds. And I'm also going to grab a little bit of a deeper one. And make some speckle-like marks all around my apple. Yeah. Then I'm gonna come up here, and over here I've got a bit of a texture on this bit. I'm gonna use that one as well. And I'm gonna bring a little bit of this dull green on the side to make the Okay, I'm just going to carry on for a couple more minutes and then we're going to divide it onto a second video. So I'm getting all the dark bit in here. Yeah. And then I'm going to come to the other side. Oh, and it's quite interesting. There's some really beautiful colors here. So I'm just going to go with a little bit of red. So you can do this with, without color. I think it just depends if you enjoy to do color more. That was a phone, by the way. It really sounded like a fart, but it was a phone going. Okay, and now I'm gonna come with that brown on top of that one. And just get that darkness. Okay, so I'm going to leave this video here and I'm going to continue on the second part. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and perhaps this will give you a chance to have a look at what you're doing and see what's working and what's not, and adjust your drawings accordingly. I'll see you soon.